Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. One more time, Noor Zaman is here with you. As you remember that we are discussing about the Android data persistence, different modes, and previously we discussed about the shared process method. Now today we are focusing to discuss about the part 2, which is about the internal memory and external memory, how we can save our data, persist our data with Android by keeping it in the concept of the file. This is almost the same concept what we did, what you use it already with your Java. I hope that you all are aware about that one, and you already used that how to save the files with the Java. And today, before going to go to the example, we will discuss a few concepts which are required normally, that how to write the file and how to read the file in the memory. As a recap, as you can recall your memory what you already learned during the Java. As we discussed previously, that what is actually data storage in Android. So we know that data storage are persistent of data, means to store or keep our app data application on a temporary basis or on the permanent basis. So this is also some sort of that what we discussed previously, and today we will focus on how we can save the files, or how we can save our data to the memory. Now here we must see that what is actually the difference that what we discussed previously with the shared preferences, and why we are switching to the file to save our data into the internal or the external memory. As shared preference object allows you to store the data that could set be stored as a key value pairs. Or in other words, we can say that, for example, if we want to use our user ID, birth date, gender, driving license, or anything etc., but having a similar value. Now, if suppose for an example, for a moment, if we want to save our data which is more larger in a size, say for example a poem, say for example a paragraph, say for example anything else, so we can't use the shared preferences method. For that, we use to save our data into the internal memory or into the external memory by using the file method. As we described earlier, that here to save the data with the file mechanism in memory, internal or either in the external memory, is having the same concept and the same methods almost what you used already with the Java. So we will see that how those are same. Before going to the example, we will discuss the few out of them, that how and what classes and the what methods we are using for writing purpose, and what methods and what classes we are trying to use or we will use for the reading purpose. This will be our application, having the title for our app is files, and it contains the four things. Number one is to please enter the some text, that is actually just a caption, and then a text box. Then we have a one button to save. To save, it means to save our data, whatever we are trying to write inside the text, editable text box. And then if we want to reload that data, the saved file, we want to recall this our saved file, so we can use the load button. For this example, with this slide, you are trying to see the two different screens. In one screen at 6:27 the time is mentioned, that we put into the some data, and then we try to save inside our memory. As you can see from here, from the bottom, there are the two messages. If we just follow with my mouse pointer, that when we are saving our data, so we are receiving a message that the file saved successfully. And with the other screen, you can see that with my mouse pointer that the message is that the file loaded successfully. So these are the two functionalities. We're just trying to enter the some data into the editable text box, and then we are trying to save it in our database, and at the same time, after a few moments, we are trying to retrieve our data back from the memory. So we are doing actually the two functions, the two purposes. The one is that we are writing the data, another one is that we are reading the data back. As we described earlier, that for this operation we need the two things. One is to write first into the memory, into the file, and the second one is actually when we want to read it back. For writing, you can see with these details that we are using the file output stream class, and also we are using the open file output method. These two will help us to write our whatever the data we are entering into the text box, editable text box, will be right into the memory. How it will be right into the memory? If you just come up with my mouse pointer, that you can see from here that we are doing here by passing the two parameters. The one is the text file.txt, and second one is actually the mode word readable. So when we are passing the two parameters, so the first one parameter, which is the text file, this is actually the name file for the file in which the data will be right, the name of the file where the data will be right. And this is actually the second parameter, is actually the mode, and we are using here the mode word readable, and it means that file can be readable by all other applications. This is totally different of the mode what we use in our previous example with the shared preferences, where we used the mode private. In the mode private, we can use the mode private when we want that no other application can read or write with our application. Here this mode is the different. So now we can use the other modes also other than this mode word readable. See, for example, these are the other modes. For mode private, what we discussed already, and other mode is the mode append. For mode append, if you have already file, your file is already exists, so you can use this mode and you can add the further text into the same file. And then what we are using right now, and another mode is the mode word writable. All other applications have a right to access to the file. These all are the concepts, most of them you already discussed with you in Java, and here we are just recapping it before going to the example, as you can understand the things in a more appropriate way. To convert a character stream into a byte stream, we use an instance of the output stream writer class. By passing it an instance of the file output stream object what we created before, and this is here you can see that this is the output stream class. We're creating its object, and we are passing the object of file output stream class what we created just before. You can see this is for the file output stream, so we have created this object fout, and that is the same what we are using. Have a look here. So this is the same what we are passing the parameter. So this is something which is related to the writing operation. Now finally we need the few methods to complete our operation successfully. So you can use the write methods, you can use the flush method, you can use finally the close method, then you finish up with your writing with the file. So again, this is the same mechanism what we are using with the Java. So just have a look on this slide, that what we are doing here, that to ensure that all the bytes are written to the file, we normally use the flush method, and while we are using the close method at the end when it is done, and while for the writing we are using the write method to write into the string, and to write the string within the files to the file. Now here our purpose for writing is done. For writing purpose, what we use a couple of the things. Say for example, we use file output stream class, we use open file output method, and then we pass the parameters, the two parameters. The one is the file name and another one is the mode, in what mode we want to write our file. Then we use the output stream writer class, and then we pass the object of the file output stream class. And finally we use the different methods, like say for example the write method, flush method, and close method. So this is, we can see here that these all will assist us to complete our writing purpose into the file, into the memory. Now once the file is written, once the file is saved in the memory, now we need to read it back, to retrieve it back. For reading, now we need the same way what the methods, the few methods and the classes, the same as what we require for the writing purpose. So have a look on that. For the reading purpose, we need the file input stream class, and at the same time together we also need the input stream reader class. So we can use them like the file input stream, and this is the object for file input stream, and this is the open file input method. This is the same what we were using, the same mechanism what we were using for the writing. At that time we also need the one method, and here we also need the another method. But here you can imagine, you can see that we are passing only the one parameter, not passing the two parameter. Here the parameter is only the name of the file, because we don't need the mode now. The mode is only required when we are willing to write to save the file, that in what mode we are trying to save. In other words, you can see that mode is actually an attribute of the file, that either it will be accessible to all or not. So like that. Now here, at this moment when we are going with the reading purpose, so we just need to pass the one parameter, which is actually the name of the file. Then this is the input stream reader. We are creating its object, and then we are passing the object what we created the object for file input stream here. So this is now the different for the reading purpose. For the reading purpose, we have another issue also, because when we are reading the file, we don't know that what it is size is in actual. Maybe it is a small file, maybe it's a big size. So what we are doing, because we don't know the size of the file to read of the content, so for that reason we are trying to read it into the blocks of the 100 characters and to the buffer array. So we create the character array, the buffer array. So we are trying to use all the data into the blocks and into the form of the blocks into the array, and then finally we are trying to copy all whatever we read it into a string object. So this is a little different because we are not aware that how we read it. So here if you just follow with my mouse pointer, so here what we are doing the same. This is the one character kind of type of the array, and we are passing the block. The block size is might be 100, what we are showing here, and then we are just creating the string object, and finally whatever we read the data, we are trying to shift it back, copying it back to the string. After this is done successfully, we need the read method. If you remember, for the write, we were using the write method, we were using the flash method, we were using the close method. Now at this time, at this moment, for the reading purpose, we need the read method, and the read method of input stream reader object reads the number of the characters read and return the -1 value. -1 will be, it means that now the file is end, the file is completely and all file is just finished, and whatever the data it consists, it is read by the application. Now if we have the look for our app, so what we describe, that we are using the four things. Number one is only the label. Please enter the some text. Then this is the editable text box, and then there are the two buttons, the save and the load. The save button is actually once we want to write the file, the values, and the load button is actually when we are trying to read it back. We just have a look here with its main XML file. So you can see this is actually the text view where we are saying this, please enter some text, and then this is the edit text box, and then it is actually the button, the save button, and finally if we just go down, so you can see there are the two buttons also. The one button is for the save button, and the other one button is for the load button. So this is all about the design. Now we are trying to go to see about its functionalities with its Java class, and you will see there that there are the two phases. With the first phase, we'll try to write the file in the memory, and the second one is to just read from the memory. So here is actually the Java class, and with the Java class, if you just focus with what we are doing the same thing what we discussed just before about the methods, and there is nothing anything different. We just started our class from here, and here we just create the objects for the text box, and then just come down on create method. This is the same what we are doing before. There is nothing anything which is to be the new, and then we are just created some more objects, but we can use it later on. And if you just have a look here, so you can see that. So if you have a look, so this is, we just created the objects for the save buttons and then for the load button, and now we're coming down here just to write it into the SD card. As the previous, I just mentioned here with the comments, which will help you like to go with the internal storage, the file output stream, this is f out and whatever it is, so you can have a look, because this is make the things more easier for your understanding. So now if you just come down, then what methods we discuss about it. So this is about the SD card storage. We are trying to write our file into the SD card storage. And if we just come down, then we want to see that what methods we discuss about output stream writer and about everything, and about the methods to write and the flash and the close. So these all our methods are here. We are just writing the files to the files, and here this is the output stream writer, and we are passing the parameters that is actually for the file output stream. What we created here, this is actually the file output stream f out, and you see that what we are passing here. So these are the lines of the codes are the same what we discussed just previously with our PowerPoint slides, because here the size of the code is a little minimum, so we just copy from here and just to discuss it with the PowerPoint slides, as you can see it in an appropriate way and can understand the things first. So this is the first option, this is the first phase in which we are trying to write the file till here, and after that when the file is done, so this is actually the message. We are trying to display the saved file is saved, so the message should be there. So that message is actually what, that the file saved successfully. For a method we are using the toast, and where it is the method, if you remember that we discussed it previously in our PowerPoint slide, and once we will execute our application, so you will see that both of the messages for file saved successfully and for the file load successfully. So please go ahead. Now this is actually done here. Now we are trying to go with the second phase, in which we are trying to read the file back. So this is for the file read. What we are doing here, again you see the file input stream. We are using file input stream, and we created its object, and then we are passing the one parameter. The one parameter is here the file. This is actually the name of the file, and then what we are doing here, we are using the input stream reader also at the same time, and we are passing this object of the file input stream as we discussed it previously. And then we are just coming down, so we can see that we are applying the array concept, the input buffer array. We are trying to take the values into the array, and here is the object for the string. And what we are doing, we just apply a while loop. With the help of the while loop, we are reading the data from the input file in the form of the block sizes, which we consider that it is the 100 in size, 100 characters, and then those characters are storing back to the array, and then we are copying them into the string. So once they are copied into the string, so we can show them on or load them again back to our editable text. Here we are doing the same. So just see here, this is the text box, editable text box. So we are just loading the files, the readable data back, and this is the message once it's done. So we are again displaying the message with the toast. So this is giving us the message that file loaded successfully. So it means our file is loaded once we are pressing the button to load the file. So if you have a look, that it is a very simple, and it is the same like what you I believe that you learn it in your Java classes, and you are aware about these all methods in your Java classes, and you had the labs in your Java classes, so you know these all are, it's very close to the Java. And what the methods we use the different methods for input and different methods for the output. And in addition, for the input, we created the array, and then we try to read the values and store the values into the array, and then finally we copy the value into the string, and then we load that values into the editable text box. This file persistence type is means okay, but it is not as good as we if we can say that like the relational database like the SQL. And once we will be with the SQL, so then we will discuss that what is the benefit for the SQL. And once when we finish it, then we can be able to compare all these persistence type, that why there, why there, why there, and why there. As we know now to onward that the shared preferences, in the shared preferences we can store the values in the key values, key pair values, where we can store the smallest values for the smallest data, while for the file we can store the longer value, just like a paragraph, just like a poem, or just like a few sentences, to save it into the memory, and then we can read from the memory. So this is actually the main difference in between the shared preferences and the file storage mechanism in the Android. And the file storage mechanism is very close, it is almost same what you already learned in your Java class. Now we're ready to run our application. We just want to run our application and to see that how these both of the two functionalities are working. So it is simple as of before. Just come here and click, see the run Android application. So your application is loaded here. Now have a look that this editable text box is ready to receive the value, and we can enter any kind of the values. Say for example that we are using this example to store the values in the memory, to check file persistence data concepts, this is concept map class, mobile application programming class, KFU. Now press the save button. Once we will press the save, then the data will be saved, and this data will be vanished, and the message will come down. So here save, so file saved successfully, file saved successfully, and at the same time it is vanished from the editable text box. Now the other phase is that we want to load the value back. So we just press the load. Once we press the load, the value comes again back, and message coming, file loaded successfully. We are using this example to store the values in the memory to check file persistence data concept map class King Faisal University. So this is the same file what you stored previously. Now just do this one again. This is save. Once you will click on the same, so just see that this file will be again rewrite, means overwrite on the same file, and this will go with the message file saved successfully. And now if you want to reload back, so this is again done. So if you want to try it, press the Ctrl F11, try it. Oh no, this is not looking good. Press Ctrl F11 again, please. So now if you just want to reload this one and just try to save another file, come again. Yeah, we are here again. So now we want to save another file. So this is an example to save the file in the memory, which stores the file and retrieve the file again. Save the button, file saved successfully, and edit text boxes plain. Come back and load it. So it is loaded again. The file is with you. So this is the whole functionality of this app, that how you can save the file in the memory and how you can get it back into the memory. So the one thing, when you are clicking to the save, this is actually file is saved, and also your edit text box is going to be clear. That we didn't discuss while we were discussing the code. So just have a look on this one. This is pretty simple. This is only with this line that once we did this, it is there that clear the edit text box. So the text box set.text is equal to clear. We just pass nothing, no any value. So text box will be clear. And this is after once when we are writing the values into the file. So this is all about the file storage, that how we are able to store our data in the form of the file into the internal or external memory. And later on we will discuss with our coming class that how we can store the files by using the relational database, the SQL Lite, how we can use the SQL Lite. And then at that time we will try to understand that what is the difference in the SQL Lite database and in saving the data with the file, and also the saving the data for temporary purposes by using the shared preferences. So thank you very much for your time for watching this video. I hope that you are clear from the concepts, and inshallah see you next time. Ma salam.